broadcasting live 4 days a week worldwide
from the sunny beaches of Southern California.
This is ExtremeHealthRadio.com.
This is David Avocado Wolf of DavidWolf.com, and you are listening to Justin and Kate on Extreme Health Radio.
Well, here we are again, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us on this episode of Extreme Health Radio.
Another beautiful, sunny Southern California day.
I know, shocking, right?
We're getting spoiled here this week.
I know, it's, what is it, no clouds. It looks like it's about 70 degrees.
It feels like 70. It's just sun on your face. It makes you feel so good.
I know, it's amazing, isn't it?
Yes, it's a beautiful, gorgeous, very amazing morning.
I know, for February, what is the day today?
February 13th?
Thursday, February 13th, 2014, and I feel like it should be summertime here.
I know, right?
Crazy, right?
We'll take it.
This is episode number 204. So if you're interested in getting the show notes or any reference materials that are mentioned on this page or any books or anything that's mentioned on this show, it's on episode 204, so you can go check that out. And today we have a really great guest. I feel like this whole week has been like a digestive week. Yesterday we had Professor
Alex Volinsky.
Alex Volinsky. I can't even remember his name. Maybe I have a parasite.
The parasite's in your brain.
I got a parasite that's not talking to me right now, telling me the information I need to know. But we had Professor Alex Volinsky yesterday on episode 203 talking about parasites.
That was fascinating.
And that was an very interesting show. And I know he knows Donna Gates, and he's done some work with her. And today we have Donna Gates on. And it's going to be an amazing show. We're going to talk about digestive issues, which is huge in the world today.
Huge.
Everyone has digestive issues.
I probably come across a few people every day that I talk to that have something going on in that area. And myself, I've struggled a lot with that recently, and it's going to be such great information. Yeah, it's going to be really great stuff. Her website, Donna Gates, is bodyecology.com, and I forgot, I didn't have this in the notes, but she mentioned to us before the show that she has her own radio show on Hay House Radio on Mondays. Oh, awesome. So that would be really great for you guys to check that out. And she's on Facebook at Body Ecology, and it's bodyecology.com. And she is an internationally best-selling author of The Body Ecology Diet, Recovering Your Health and Rebuilding Your Immunity, The Body Ecology Guide to Growing Younger, Anti-Aging Wisdom for Every Generation, Stevia, Cooking with Nature's Calorie-Free Sweetener, and Advanced, and, let's see, I didn't read that correctly. Yeah, so those are her books, and incredible books. And I think the Body Ecology Diet, the one she's most known for, came out in 1994, I think, and she's doing some really, really great work. And we've seen her, live, right? At the Women's Longevity, or Women's Wellness in Costa Mesa. And I have to say, when I heard her speak, I just wanted to go up on the stage and hug her. Did you? She's such an amazing presence, and I'm just so honored to be talking to her today. It's a dream for me. So. Yeah, it's good stuff. So thanks, Donna, for joining this show. How are you doing today?
Wow, thank you. What a lovely... nice introduction. I'm doing great today. I'm also enjoying the beautiful sunshine. Oh, excellent! Lucky us,
right?
I know. Are you up in the LA area? Is that kind of where you are?
Yeah, I'm in LA. So and my brother, I talked to him last night, and they're having a snowstorm in Georgia. I grew up in Georgia. That's where my family is, and they're having this terrible, not really a snowstorm, it's just a horrible ice storm that's going to last for 4 days, and they hope they don't lose their power. And I'm thinking, oh my gosh, you're kidding. Because it's so pretty out here. It's just hard to believe people are suffering like that. Oh, I know. When you're not in it, you really don't think about it, do you? It's amazing. No, we're probably very self-centered in that way. I know, right? Now, are you a fan of the summertime or winter? Does your body do better? I love summer. Mm-hmm. You love summer? I'm not a big fan of freezing cold winter. No, I'm not. I like summer. I'm that way too. I don't know what it is. Maybe some people just genetically programmed to like certain seasons, but I love summer myself. I never have understood how people have settled a long time ago in places like Chicago. I'm thinking, how did they do that? who was the first person that decided this is a good place to live? When winter came, I would have left and moved onward.
I know, right? We have David Wolf I know you know David Wolf, and he lives up in Canada, and I just can't understand that.
Yeah,
I know.
Yeah, last time we actually had him on, he was barefoot in the snow while he was talking to us.
Yeah, that was just amazing.
Gosh.
We were laughing.
Wow.
Yeah, a little different here in California.
Amazing. So you are the author of the book that you're most known for is The Body Ecology Diet, and you released some other books recently. And was I correct in saying that book was released in 1994?
I think so. I actually, it's been redone. I over the years, because I had self-published it for most all those years, I changed it all the time and kept, I didn't change the bones and the information, but I just would read it and make it a little more understandable. So I stopped counting. It must have had 10 or 11 editions before I turned it over to Hay House. And Hay House, Louise Hay has been on the diet for years. And, she wanted to do the new book on anti-aging.
Uh-huh.
But in talking to me, they said, "Well, let us have Body Ecology too, because they can translate it into a lot of different languages and take it all over the world." So far, it's actually been translated into Czechoslovakian, of all places.
Oh my God!
And Italy and Italian. So I don't know why it's not Spanish. That would have been my first choice, but hopefully they're working on that.
Wow.
Well, those Italians, the way they eat, I'm sure they could learn a thing or two.
I know of any culture.
Yeah, they eat a lot of pasta, a lot of gluten.
So Louise Hay is publishing the book, and you mentioned before the show you have a show on there on Mondays.
Yes, Mondays at 3:00. It's a great show. I always have good guests, and a really big following for. I was afraid that nobody would be interested in health on Hay House because they're more into positive thinking, affirmations, angels, and so on. But actually, it's a pretty popular show, and I love doing it. And sometimes it's a call-in show just with me, and those are my favorite shows in a lot of ways.
Oh wow, yeah, she's doing some amazing work. And I heard a while back, I think she had her own health struggles a long time ago, and you said she's on.
In her. I guess she didn't even start Hay House until she was 57. Before that, she had cancer, and that was really what put her on a path toward wellness. And she's so open to doing all the right things. She's an amazing person, especially because, she's like I think this year she's 85, but, in that generation, people are not as open. They're really believe in science and margarine and doctors, and, they're not like us, really, or even like the younger generations. So she's an amazing person.
Do you think it's important for people to have a positive outlook on their life at the expense? Because it seems like you said before, it was interesting that not a lot of those people would have been into health, but in my mind, those two would have gone hand in hand. You
would think so, but I think for many of us, we can sort of only focus on one part of our development. Like when a baby's growing, they'll tend to, for a while, maybe be focused on their social development or emotional development or their physical development, but they don't do all of it at once. So maybe that it's hard for us to do that, maybe. I know I've gone through stages where I was really into physical, then I went into a lot of work on my spiritual self, and then I went back into kind of blending the two together. But I think, that some people that's just that's as much as they can handle. Yeah, it's interesting because we listen to a lot of their stuff, and I hear sometimes, them talking about different things, and it's just so interesting to think that, someone like that would also maybe go eat McDonald's or Carl's Jr. or something like that. But in my mind, those go hand in hand, and I love both sides. Well, the show right before me is Cheryl Richardson. She's amazing. She's a life coach, and sometimes as I'm getting onto my show, I'm listening to her, and she gives the best information for people. And those people need to get their life together. In other words, sometimes you have to have someone like Cheryl give you some basic information about organizing your life better so it's working, so it has more structure and it's less stressful, and then you can start to focus more on your food and your body and your health. Yeah. So we're the Monday's lineup is Wayne Dyer, Cheryl, and me. I think all three of us are good, complementary together. Wow, that's great. Now, can people listen to that for free, or is that a paid for? For free, yeah. Well, after the Monday show, after it's over from 3 to 4, Then it goes into, for the whole week, you can listen for free. And then after that, it goes into what they call the Wisdom Channel archive. And you have to subscribe to that. But it's not very expensive. It's like $29 and you get the whole year listening to anybody. They have really great people on.
Oh, wow. That sounds amazing. I like that.
Sounds like something I'm going to follow up with.
Yeah.
And, there's an app. You can put it on your phone, like just download the Hay House app. And then if you're just driving in the car or cooking in the kitchen or whatever, just pop the app on and you can listen to whoever's on the radio at that moment. So that's kind of fun. I mean, it really is inspiring, because there's always somebody saying something inspiring to keep you on track.
Absolutely. This is such good information because there's a lot of people out there like me who have exhausted all my podcasts that I have of Hay House, World Summit and things. And I've listened to all of them many times and I'm always looking for new things. So this is great information. Thanks, Donna.
Oh, thank
Fabulous.
you.
So now your work is mainly with candida and improving your digestion. What is candida and how prevalent do you think it really is with people? I'm sure you see it so much in your work.
Well, I think today everybody has it. I really do. I think some people have much more acute cases of it and they're really struggling. And some people have a strong immune system and it's under control. But everybody really, it's naturally present in the body, and it's easy to change it into its. I used to think you had to take an antibiotic, because I did. I mean, I started taking antibiotics, and my skin broke out, and then I went on the birth control pill, also for my skin, and that was a common treatment doctors, dermatologists did for millions of women, and that will trigger, antibiotics will trigger a yeast infection in the gut, because it wipes out all your good bacteria, and that's where I started, thinking that's how it all began. But over the years, thousands, there's many, many thousands and thousands of studies now on candidiasis. So it's heavily researched and we know a lot more about it today. And it definitely can change. It can be in a harmless form, just in the body, and change into a harmful form immediately. It's a very stealth infection. It can evade the immune system by changing itself back into a harmless form, and then it can become pathogenic again. It weakens the immune system. When you have yeast in your body, they're constantly secreting toxins all the time. And those toxins are suppressing the immune system and doing other things. But one of the toxins that it secretes shreds apart the DNA of the white blood cells and destroys that part of our immune system. And another one just suppresses it. Acetaldehyde, another toxin, prevents our thyroid hormone, T4, from becoming T3. So we don't have any energy. So it's, you need energy to heal from anything, particularly overcome an infection. So it's a very, very stealth and difficult infection to get rid of, but there is a way to get rid of it.
Yeah, it's interesting because candida is, I think it's just incredibly prevalent, and it comes up in so many different ways. I mean, skin rashes, eczema, all kinds of different things, doesn't it?
Bloating.
Because one of the toxins that it produces those skin problems like psoriasis and all, because of the 79 different toxins that have been identified, and one of those toxins produces skin things like psoriasis.
Isn't that interesting? I've even heard people talk about there's a relationship between candida and cancer. Is there any relationship there, do you think there?
Yeah, well, it's very much keeping your body very acidic all the time. They eat the minerals, they survive on proteins and minerals, and also so they actually consume nutrients from your body. And when you don't have enough minerals, you're very acidic. There's a relationship between mercury. It's very difficult to get rid of the mercury in your body with candidiasis. These kind of sequester the mercury. So you have to, when you're doing a mercury detox program, you should be also on an anti-candida program at the same time. So you get rid of them both at the same time. It's actually it's just sad that the medical profession has sort of shoved it aside, and the good doctors think that you can just give somebody an antifungal drug like nystatin, but they don't really. Nobody's ever bothered to study it really, because it's too bad. It's definitely playing a major role in our health, and for years now, women have been giving. If you have a yeast infection and you get pregnant, your yeast infection is going to become quite acute during the pregnancy. The baby will get the infection too. And so a mother needs to realize that after her baby's born, she can heal her infection, and actually the baby can throw it off too if you do certain things. And that's what we teach our parents to do, our moms. And so they're very, very healthy. Our babies are extremely healthy because they get rid of that. We build a real strong immune system in the babies as soon as they're born. babies have a lot of life force, a lot of jing, and so they can throw that infection off right away. But they will. But it's important for a mother to realize that that her baby very likely has been born with a yeast infection. And signs of that are cradle cap and diaper rash and digestive problems, gas and bloating. The baby's not getting a healthy little inner ecosystem in his gut, her gut, when she's born. And, that's why we teach the mother what to do.
Is there such a thing as, I've heard people talk about how unnatural it is for people to have or feel like they have the need to burp their babies because their babies aren't being, digesting whatever they're eating. Is that true? Have you heard about that?
Yeah, well, you can definitely tell when a baby's digestive tract isn't working because they're so uncomfortable. They're pulling up their little legs and they're screaming and yelling and they don't sleep very well and their parents are up all night and not getting any sleep. It's really the way most babies are starting life now. It's almost become the norm that parents expect to have a difficult, rough start. So what we do is we encourage our mothers who've been drinking coconut kefir and eating fermented vegetables through their pregnancy, so they have it on hand, just to take the coconut kefir, for example, and take a dropper full of it and put it in the baby's mouth, and that puts good bacteria right down into their digestive tract, and now they're going to digest their mother's milk, and also the juice of the cultured vegetables too. Just put the juice, scoop a little bit up in the dropper, and put 4, 5, 6 drops down in the baby's tummy. And then they're going to start digesting well. And that bacteria gets down into their gut. And so they are breaking down the proteins and the fats and the sugars and everything that are in the milk.
So for people who are out there wondering if, candida is something that's super prevalent and kind of starting to become a problem, is there a kind of a no-fail testing for this to actually find out what those levels are, or how does that work?
You can. There are tests that a functional medicine doctor can do, like Genova, for example, has this test, and it'll show you if you have antibodies to that your body's been fighting an infection.
Okay.
And in the stool, if the infection is in the stool, you can test and see that it's in the stool, and then if it's in the vaginal canal, then you can do a swab. An OBGYN usually can do a swab, and they'll tell you, yes, you have a yeast infection. So yes, you can definitely. But the yeast are very commonly in the sinuses, and it's hard to get up into the sinuses and test that. And they get down into the ear. They can, anywhere there's a cavity in the body, a yeast infection can grow.
Now, is there a difference between candida and yeast? Because I know when you ferment foods, there's a bit of a difference, right?
Well, there's good yeast and there's bad yeast, like anything else. Like Saccharomyces boulardii is a good yeast, and the ones that we use in our starter are good yeast that are found in kefir starters. But there's bad yeast too, and candidiasis is one of the most prevalent, and it's one of the bad yeast, and it's prevalent. But there's other bad ones too, Tropicalis. It doesn't matter what their name is, though. They still respond to the same antifungal program. Like whatever you have, it's going to work if you're on the body ecology diet.
So the principle of the diet is sort of to starve out their food, and then would it also be going after and killing these things?
Well, you've got to build the immune system too. Okay. So you want to stop feeding them, because like anything, if they don't have any food, they start to die. Right. They do expect to die off, because while they're dying, they're secreting toxins, and their dead bodies are toxins that your body has to get rid of, and so you can be uncomfortable during the die off unless you're doing colonics and colon therapy at the same time, but. Yeah, yeast and fungus, yeast, they're all the same type of thing. And the other thing you've got to do is build the immune system. That's critical, absolutely critical. And that's why eating the fermented foods is so important. Sleeping well, some people have really bad lifestyle habits, so they watch TV late at night, or they also, stay up late checking their emails. So they're getting too much light in their eyes, and their cortisol's too high. And so they're not going to be able to sleep well when they go to sleep. So you've got to really be mindful that you've got an enemy inside of you that is not on your side, and you've got a little battle to fight, basically. So you've got to build up all your reserves, all your energy, and sleep well, and build your immune system. If you want to, you can take things like olive leaf extract and so on. But the problem with taking antifungal herbs in the beginning is that there's so much die-off just because you've stopped feeding them and now you're avoiding sugar and gluten, that they're going to die anyway, and you don't need those products yet. But later on down the road, you might want to use them.
Yeah, interesting. I want to ask you, we're going to take a little break here, but I want to ask you after the break maybe some of the things that are actually feeding these things, because I know that everyone thinks of sugar as one of the main things that feeds candida, but I've also heard of heavy metals and things like that. So we'll talk to Donna about that after the break, and we're going to read a little listener question after the break as well. From who was that, Kate, that wrote in? Lisa? Elisa. She wrote a big, long question, and she sounds like she's doing everything right. And maybe that's you if you're listening. She sounds like she's doing everything right and still having some digestive issues. So we'll read that after the break. And don't forget to check out Donna Gates. Her website is bodyecology.com, and you can also follow her on Facebook as well. And we are going to check out that Hay House.
Yes, I can't tell you how excited I am.
I know that's pulling listeners away from Extreme Health Radio, but we want to promote anything that's good, right?
Yes, there's enough for everybody.
So we're going to run this little ad for our favorite Bellicon Rebounder, and we'll be right back after this break. I have been a huge fan of rebounding for many, many years, and if you want to get in great cardiovascular shape, tone your legs, back, and butt, and stomach, as well as cleanse your lymphatic system from toxins and chemicals, you just have to start rebounding. It's imperative. And not only will it create endorphins that quickly become addictive to you, but it's very low impact as well. It helps to prevent sicknesses and diseases, as well as increase bone density, and it flushes toxins from your lymphatic system. It's amazing. And not only that, but it's a ton of fun also. I do it every single day for about 15 minutes. And we found the best rebounder on the market today in the world, bar none. It's called the Bellicon Rebounder. It's the Rolls-Royce of rebounders, in my opinion. And let's listen to some of what our guests have had to say about rebounding. Robert von Sarbacher is a health researcher and creator of the Mini Beat Protocol. And Robert, what's your favorite exercise?
In general, probably one of the number one anti-aging exercises on the planet is rebounding. So 15 minutes a day is good for that. You can find people who have had thermography scans on cancers, giant tumors, and when they're doing a rebounder, it would start spewing out and shrinking right in front of your eyes, the tumor would, as they're on the rebounder. So it's really good for that sort of thing. It's also very good for exercising internal organs. It's the only internal organ exerciser that I know of known to man.
Dr. Lindsay Duncan is the CEO and founder of Genesis Today. And what's the best way that you think of to stimulate the lymphatic system of the body?
Rebounding is incredible because it's good for the lymphatic system, and there's more lymph fluid in the body than there is blood. And the quickest way and the most effective way to get the lymphatic system flowing is through rebounding itself.
Yeah, because the lymphatic system can't really detox itself, can it? I think you know.
The heart, we have the heart, thank you, for pumping blood. And we don't have a heart to pump lymphatic fluid. The only thing that really can pump lymphatic fluid is cardiovascular exercise utilizing the thighs, the thigh muscles. And that's why rebounding and getting a burn in that thigh muscle is so important for the flow and the stimulation of the lymphatic fluid.
Wow, and they even put cancer patients on rebounding, don't they?
Nutritionists do.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, but not a conventional doctor. But yeah, I've been learning about rebounding lately. It's quite an amazing thing.
Yeah, rebounding's amazing.
Health researcher and author of Cancer Step Outside the Box, Ty Bollinger. What do you do in your life to prevent cancer?
What do you do to treat cancer? What do you do to prevent it? Rebounding is something that I try to do on a daily basis. A little mini trampoline for those people that aren't familiar with the term rebounding, but it's basically just jumping up and down on a little mini tramp. What that does is it stimulates the lymphatic system. Lymphatic system is one of our primary detoxification systems in our body, and most folks don't stimulate their lymph flow, and so the toxicity in their body builds up because their lymph is not stimulated, and the up-down motion on a rebounder stimulates the lymph flow better than just about any other exercise. So I do that almost on a daily, probably 5 days a week, I would say I average doing that.
And finally, author and speaker and creator of the Longevity Now program, David Wolf. Do you think the Bellicon is the best rebounder on the market today?
Absolutely. I was just with the crew in Europe that does the Bellicon Rebounder, which is an incredible rebounder. My God, what a machine.
Mm-hmm.
And it doesn't use metal springs. It uses like flexi ropes. So it's very soft and fun, and it's just great to play with.
Well, there you have it. The up and down G-force actually stimulates every single cell in your body. It's incredible. And as someone who works out in the gym a lot and does Qigong, I think that the best physical aerobic exercise, in my opinion, is rebounding. It's just absolutely incredible for the human body. And the Bellicon is silent, and it comes with a warranty, and you can get them in several different sizes and colors, and some of them have bars that you can hold on to in case you're worried about balance. It's a well worth it investment in your health and in your future. So check them out in our store if you'd like, or you can check out the videos on extremehealthradio.com/Bellicon. Again, that's extremehealthradio.com/Bellicon. That's B as in boy, ELLICON.
Listener supported. Extreme Health Radio. Opening minds and transforming lives worldwide. Don't forget to join our thriving community for health tips, inspiration, and show updates at extremehealthradio.com/Facebook.
And if you guys have any questions about that rebounder, want to know more about it, we realize it's a very expensive machine, but I just got off mine about 15 minutes before the show, did my 15 minutes every day. And Kate, during the break, just got done making her little smoothie, didn't you, Kate?
I sure did.
We were rushing to get that done, but you made it.
I did it.
Yep.
And I'm better for it. Green juice down, smoothie in the process.
That's right. If you guys have any questions, like I said, about that sauna, please let me know. I'd love to help you out in any way possible. And if you'd like to continue the discussion on this particular show, you can always go to extremehealthradio.com/forum and join the community that way and continue talking about what Donna Gates is talking about. And you can listen live too if you want to ask your questions live. And before the break, we were talking about candida and yeast and fungus and all these types of things. And I was curious. I have a listener question. You know what? I'll get to the listener question now, but I wanted to ask this afterwards. But the listener question is very interesting. And let's see. It's written by, I think Lisa wrote it in from San Francisco. And she says, "Hi, Donna. This show is so timely. I'm beyond frustrated. I'm a 34-year-old female, haven't had kids yet, and constantly have digestive issues like gas, bloating, upset stomach, intermittent diarrhea, and hemorrhoids. It's frustrating because for the past few years I consumed sauerkraut, milk kefir, bone broths, water kefir, coconut kefir that she makes daily, and she takes enzymes, hydrochloric acid, L-glutamine, digestive supplements with every meal. She says she food combines properly. She doesn't combine starches with proteins, and she eats very high raw food diet with minimal animal products, and she eats slowly, chews her foods well. And she says, I take apple cider vinegar, and I eat an early dinner. I don't eat grains, gluten, dairy, soy, or sugar. I do coffee enemas once a week and twice yearly colonics. I eat medicinal mushrooms for my immune system. I regularly do yoga, meditation, and work on lowering my stress daily. I drink lots of fresh spring water. Golly, this girl's doing everything. Green juices, and she gets enough sleep, but can't seem to get on track with my digestion. What more can I possibly do?"
Wow, that's a loaded question.
This is a pretty perfect question. I'm glad somebody asked this because I think there's so many people out there that are feeling, I've done everything. I don't know what else to do, and I'm still not well. So it's perfect that Lisa wrote in and said that. I have some suggestions.
Excellent. Because I'm fresh out of luck. I don't know what else you could be doing, so I'm glad you do.
Well, so she's doing some fermented things, and she's doing the coconut water kefir, fermented kefir water, and she's also doing water kefir. So there's a difference between them. Water kefir is very rich in sugar, and I don't recommend it. But So I wouldn't do that. And then the other thing is, so she's doing no grains. Well, this is a big controversial subject, but this is where I think blood type matters, because people who are blood type O, in my opinion, of working with blood type for 36 years or so now, O's have they definitely need more animal protein. They need more fats in their diet. The other blood types can't handle as much fat and protein as an O can. So Lisa didn't tell us her blood type. But if she's not eating grains, and she happens to be an A or an AB, for example, she could be in trouble, because grains, if they're done properly, you have to soak them and cook them. And, at first we don't do grains. We do quinoa and millet and buckwheat. But those are seeds that are like grains. They have the properties of grains. And they are rich in B vitamins and minerals, and they're also fiber, which is very, very important. You've got to have fiber to feed to have a healthy stool, but also to feed the microbiota in your gut. Now, a lot of people are doing high fat diets, high protein, high fat diet, and calling it paleo. Well, the used to be called the Atkins diet. Well, the thing about that is that the research shows very clearly that a high fat diet destroys the bifidus bacteria in the gut and feeds another bacteria called his name is Wadsworthia. And Wadsworthia, flares up and inflames the gut lining and causes leaky gut, and things get into the body and makes the person ill. They're sensitive and allergic to foods that they're eating and so on. So you really don't want a high fat diet. Fat's a whole different discussion in itself. But as far as the grains go, once we have people. When we have them start off with quinoa and millet and so on, the grain-like seeds, but then at a certain time when they feel like their symptoms have gone and their gut microbiome is in good shape from eating the fermented foods and things, then you can go back to rice. I like for people to use the sprouted GABA rice from True Roots, because GABA rice is very rich in GABA. It's a special strain of rice that's very high in GABA, and most of us need more GABA in our bodies. That's the amino acid or brain chemical that helps us be calmer. So grains are very calming. And the other thing I like for people to add back into their diet are whole oats. You don't use oatmeal or steel-cut oats because they're very dirty. They don't clean them before they cut them. But if you buy whole oats, you can wash them and soak them, clean them off and soak them and then cook them. And then the key to eating, the reason people are so we swing back and forth. Like first everybody was raw, doing a whole lot of sugar and dates and agave and, tons of sugar. And now we swing back to the other side, and now no sugar and paleo, high fat. The thing is, we're all unique, and we have to, figure out what works in our body. But grains are not horrible either. We're always making something wrong, like animal proteins are bad, or if you're vegan, animal proteins are bad. If you're, it's just...
I know.
The bottom line is that we have to be balanced. We have to be balanced for our body. And so knowing yourself, I think blood type is an important clue, really. But the grains have a very, very important calming. Grains and grain-like seeds have a very, very important calming quality to them. And some people that go on a paleo diet, literally after 2 or 3 weeks, they're not sleeping anymore. Now, by the way, today's February 13th and tomorrow's the full moon. And during a full moon, people don't sleep very well either. But I think, that's a big factor. I see a lot of people having a serious sleep problem today. And it makes me sad that they don't understand this, and that they don't understand how to use food as medicine. And so the grains are not such a bad thing after all. But so for Lisa, maybe grains properly prepared, grain-like seeds should be in her diet. Okay. And that'll give her more fiber and more, a healthier stool and everything. But it's good that she's off the soy and the sugar. That's great. But then the other thing is the whole subject of cleansing, colonics and all is very poorly misunderstood. I just finished a book on detoxification that I've been working on for 3 years.
Oh, wow.
And it has a very different approach to detoxification than anyone's ever done before. But I definitely have a very serious heavy-duty chapter on colon cleansing. And coffee enemas are not really a cleansing enema. They have one purpose. They're meant to blow open the bile duct so that your bile gets out of your gallbladder. But they're short-term use. It's a short-term therapy. regular colonics done properly, the way I've been teaching people to do, or go to their colon therapist and tell your colon therapist you want to use the soaking method, produces completely different results. And I noticed, you had Alex on yesterday with the ropeworm. Mm-hmm. When you do the soaking method, you will get a huge amount of black, goopy stuff out of the small intestine. That's where the toxins are all stored in people. And every single person has these ropeworms inside of them, but they're stuck up in this small intestine and they're nestled into all this black, gooey stuff that we accumulate over the years. And done properly, you can get that out of you, and it literally changes everything about you. Your personality, your brain, your body becomes very fit, and you become happier, much, much happier. And you digest, you can actually go back to eating foods that you couldn't eat before. You don't react to foods in the same way. Now, hopefully you wouldn't go back to eating bad foods, but the thing is you could eat something without being disturbed because you've gotten rid of all that goopy stuff inside of you.
So what
we accumulate literally from the beginning of our lives. We go on cereal and, sandwiches and burgers and pizzas and things. That's our food as children. And so we create this gummy goo. I mean, eat protein and sugar together all the time. We create this slimy, gooey coating on our 22 feet long small intestine, and that's where we house. That's our soil, by the way. We are not like trees. Trees are stuck in the ground and their roots are in the soil, but we move around. So our soil we carry it with us. So I want people to know that they need to cleanse their intestine, get that stuff out. And in the meantime, be eating fermented foods and healthy foods, and you'll create a new soil inside of your body that's literally growing a new you every moment of your life, because every cell in our body is nurtured by or poisoned by what's inside our guts.
So how do we tell our colon hydrotherapist about this soaking method?
So usually colon therapists are trained to put the water in to a person. The person says, okay, I'm ready to release, and they turn the knob all the way over completely to the left, and they just let all the water come out, and hoping that something comes with it. But with the soaking method, what you do is the colon therapist puts the water in very, very slowly. If you put it in very slowly, you can't feel the water going into the colon, and then it, when the client says, "Okay, I'm ready to release," they turn the knob 3/4 of the way so that there's not this rush of water out, but also they only let out the release, like whatever's ready to come out at that moment comes out, and then immediately the colon therapist will add more water. And what happens during the 45, 50 minutes or so of the session, there's a lot of water that always is in the colon. It's filled up all the time. And so it starts hydrating a lot of material in there, and 6, 8, 10, 12 minutes or so into the colonic, all that very now hydrated material starts to come out. But also, the small intestine is designed, it has a little valve between the small and large intestine, and so nothing can go from the colon into the small intestine, but things come from the small intestine into the colon all the time. When we eat, when we go to the when we eat, we're supposed to have peristaltic stimulation. Then we go to the bathroom, and as soon as the colon empties, the small intestine opens up its little valve and sends in some material, to form a new stool. Well, during a colonic, it's done this way. It's very often that the little small intestine, the valve opens up, and the small intestine just starts pouring out all this black, thick stuff that is also gotten hydrated because the colon and small intestine are attached to each other. But there's a lot of people doing this type now, and we've seen extraordinary results. Colon therapist that I work with and have sent many people to has done over 30,000 colonics, and he has many, many thousands of pictures of ropeworms. And people, it's a cold, hard fact that we have to clean this stuff out of us if we're truly going to achieve the state of health that we want. So I would say to Lisa that her 2 colonics a week are serving her well at all. I'd also like to add something too that nobody's talking about yet, but I tend to. It's one of my favorite things to talk about, and I go into it in a simple explanation of the science in my book. But, we have the liver in our body is part of our digestive tract, and the liver has 2 stages of detoxification. In the first stage, all the toxins in the body, even all your hormones, go right into the liver, every single one of them. And the liver then has to break them apart in stage 1. At that moment, after the liver breaks them apart, they are more dangerous than ever. And then that's okay, because stage 2 is supposed to come along and glump on things like glutathione, for example, and it's supposed to make, those toxins heavy. Then the liver's making bile. The liver puts the toxins in the bile, the heavy toxins. It hands it over to the gallbladder and says, okay, when we eat, drop this bile down into the small intestine. So we eat, the bile gets dropped down into the small intestine, mixes in with the food, which is part of our stool, and going to become a stool, and helps us digest our fats, stimulates peristaltic movement so that we do want to go to the bathroom. And then that bile with those toxins in it actually are supposed to be eliminated. So you're supposed to be going to the bathroom. So every single person that really wants to detoxify has to be sure that they're eliminating at least once a day a really healthy stool to get rid of the poisons. Otherwise, they're just reabsorbed back up into the poor liver again. Mm-hmm. Now, genetically, the very, very large percentage of us, and so if I could, see Lisa's genes, if she sent me her test for her genes, which is very easy to do, get your genes tested today, she may have something called an MTHFR SNP, which is very common. And it means you're not detoxifying efficiently, and it means you don't make folate. So that's a little more complicated. I don't know if you want to, we probably don't have time to get into this on the show, but there's a very simple supplement that you can take, and I would recommend she try it.
Okay.
And it's Thorne Research. I don't know where does Lisa live? Does she happen to live in L.A.?
Let me see. I think she says
San Francisco.
Oh, San Francisco.
Yes.
Well, you can get a lot of products online, but Thorne has one called Methyl Guard Plus, and it's really just a combination of B12, methyl B12, methylfolate, because that's really what's happening. You're not making enough folate, B2, riboflavin, and B6.
Oh, wow. Okay.
B6. And so those 4 B vitamins literally are like putting a key into a lock and turning something called the methylation cycle in the body, which I know we don't have time to get into that, but it's a very critical cycle that's happening in our body at all times. It has to do with detoxification. It has to do with making enough proper neurotransmitters for, in other words, people usually are depressed because of this, lack of folate. The heart health is critical for this problem. It's related to anybody with an autoimmune disease, chronic conditions, most likely has this MTHFR SNP or variation in their genes, and it needs to be fixed by taking this supplement.
Now, did you say that was put out by a company called Thorne? Is that THO?
Thorne Research is one company. Zymogen is another one. That's the one I usually use. It's a little harder to get because, usually you have to get it from a functional medicine doctor, but if you can get it, Zymogen makes one called Methyl Protect. And Zymogen also makes something called Xeno Protect. I like to use the two together because Xeno Protect is a bunch of supplements that, things that we know well, like green tea and turmeric, but they're all put together and they help with both stage 1 and stage 2 of liver detox. So to me, the perfect supplement detox program would have the Methyl Protect, so you're getting your folate and your B12, methyl B12, and so on, your B vitamins. You'd be getting the Xeno Protect is helping take care of your phase 1, phase 2 cleansing. Then I would have Livamin, which is a product of ours, because that increases your bile.
Okay.
Livamin would be great. I would highly recommend the Bellagun Rebounder. I have one myself, and I absolutely think it's by far the best rebounder on the market. So it is more expensive, but you'll have it the rest of your life. And now they're making these littler sizes, which is helps bring the price down for people. But I think, cleaning the lymph with a rebounder like that and doing colonics is an extraordinary program. Mm-hmm. And I have for the last, maybe 8 or 10 months been putting a lot of people on this program. And I have consistently had people tell me over and over and over again, this has changed my life.
Wow.
People with cysts in their breasts because they're not detoxifying estrogen well. and for risk at breast cancer, which, by the way, I have the genes for that too. I got my genes tested also and thought I was going to have really good genes, and because I'm so healthy, but I have horrible genes.
Really?
I'm not expressing any of them. Like, they're not, I have the genes for diabetes, but I don't do the things to create diabetes, and I have the genes for breast cancer, but I'm not doing the thing. I'm doing the things to prevent breast cancer. And so the genes are actually just lying there inert, waiting for you to give them a signal. And if you're not sending them bad signals, and Bruce Lipton is a friend. I love Bruce Lipton. He always tells me that I'm the other half of his work, because, the thoughts that we have are also signaling our genes. So it's a very fascinating new field that's coming about, where we can now find out what our genes are, exactly, where our risks are for certain diseases, and we can eat and adjust our diet based on that. We can take certain supplements. It's really going to be a very, very exciting time for people the next 5 years or so. All this is going to unfold.
This is
so
great
my
stuff.
book on detoxification is explaining all about the detoxification genes and how to fix the problem, basically, just like you can fix candidiasis.
Is that book released already, Donna?
No, we're trying to figure out when to bring it out.
Okay.
The spring, or maybe even not until September. But
wow.
And then I met Alex, and was excited because now we had a name for these weird things that were coming out of people, and the ropeworm at different stages too. The colon therapist I work with, he's got so many different stages of the ropeworm, and everybody that doesn't know what we're talking about, go back to listen to yesterday's show.
Because apparently
you
there's...
got to fix the gut. You have to fix your gut. There's just no getting around it. But and I know people have been saying that for decades and decades, but now we can fix the gut better than we've ever been able to. And it really requires doing all of these things, getting your detoxification pathways open, this methylation cycle working properly, eating the right kind of foods that build a healthy gut and that cleanse. I feel sad that people are giving up these grain-like seeds and grains, because they're wonderful cleansers for the digestive tract. The more fiber a person needs, like in Africa, they have, not in the cities, but in the traditional African diet, they had a very large 80% of their diet was in fiber, because they ate so many vegetables, and they do eat millet and so on over there. But they have no chronic diseases like we have, it's too bad that people are just out eating, just going to the paleo and leaving these out, because the paleo diet isn't going to give you the healthy gut that you need at all.
Yeah, it's interesting. A lot of people are having a backlash with paleo. We've been hearing it. And we have a question in our chat room. Stella wants to know about L-glutamine. What do you think about that? I think Lisa said she was on that as well. Do you like that?
Well, it's an essential amino acid for healing the lining of the gut, and it's essential. So it would be good to take. It doesn't have any flavor. You can add it to your smoothies if you want to. We have it 2,000 milligrams of it in our product we have called Vitality Super Green. You want to take at least 2,000 milligrams a day, or 2 grams. 2,000 milligrams is the same thing as 2 grams. You want to take that a day.
Excellent. And where can someone go? You mentioned getting your genes tested. Where does someone go to do that?
Right.
Well, the cheapest way to go is to go to 23andMe, and the government recently came after them, and they're not allowed to give you any information, but you can certainly get the genes, your genes mapped out, and there's certain ones you'll want to check.
Okay, like
for sure, it's worth doing it just to get the MTHFR gene. If you have that SNP, that variation in those genes, it's going to tell you a vast amount about yourself.
Is that 23andme.com?
23andMe.
Okay, excellent. Wow.
And a great website to go to is Ben Lynch, Dr. Ben Lynch. He's a naturopath, and he's got a whole website devoted to the MTHFR gene. So if you want to, I think people that are tuned into us, what we do, Justin, Kate, you, me, David Wolf, all of us, they're really on a serious path to know, and they're hungry for information. They're hungry for the simple science. So this is a very important piece of information that's come about that you have to know about. You have to know if you have these genetic variations, and if you do, you must fix them to be well.
There was a guy I was looking into and doing some research on. His name is Dr. Norman Robillard, I think, and he talks about a lot of the same things you talk about, and he mentioned something called jasmine rice, and he's put together a whole list of foods that have a fermentation potential, and he mentioned that jasmine rice had one of the lowest fermentation potentials in our bodies, and I'm curious if you've heard about that, or what kinds of rices do you recommend for people?
Well, my first choice would be the True Root sprouted GABA rice, because it's sprouted, it brings out all the GABA, and I think it's amazing. I've had people that were they weren't sleeping, and one of the things I know in healing is you've got to increase a person's energy in order for them to get well. So if they're not sleeping, you've got to fix that before you even work on their yeast infection, for example. So I'd say, look, for the next 5 or 6 nights, have GABA rice. Now, with us, of course, you're always eating fermented foods or you're drinking one of our probiotic liquids. So that's a whole different ball game. This is what the paleo people don't understand, is that if you're having cultured vegetables with your rice, the little microbes that are invisible in those vegetables, or if you're having a little glass of, say, cocoa biotic or energy biotic, and you're having the rice, then those microbes are going to eat up the sugar in the rice. There's not a lot of sugar, not like a candy bar, but it's the amount that's put in nature that helps them grow and multiply. Too much sugar kills them, like eating a candy bar kills them, but a little bit of sugar naturally found in foods. So that's why I think people traditionally have always had fermented vegetables and other fermented foods in their diet, because the microbes are helping to eat those natural sugars that are in food. And the sugars in food help the microbes grow. So we have this beautiful synergy going on in our body to keep this extraordinary world inside of our gut that's so very vital to wellness.
It's really like an inner ecosystem, like you talk about, more than what gym trainers talk about, as they call it just like a machine, but it's really an inner ecosystem, I think.
Yeah, I actually coined the term inner ecosystem because I started, finding out this and figuring out 20 years ago with the book and all. But the thing is, there wasn't a term for it. Nobody talked about it. And so I coined inner ecosystem, but more people are using the term microbiome now. So you'll see that much, much more often. Okay. But still, I love the term inner ecosystem. I think there is an ecosystem inside of us, on us and in us. And these bacteria came on the planet Earth long before other life did. They were the first life form. They've even found bacteria on outer space. But fermentation was actually, the process of fermentation was even here before we humans appeared on Earth. So fermentation, things can, like vegetables can ferment on their own. But it's a very, very important piece of health information that has been lost to us. And so people don't understand its power. So let's say, you hear me saying, hey, go back to eating the rice, is a good, once you've gotten your yeast under control with your grain-like seeds, then move to rice, and oatmeal is fine. Another grain I like very much is called hatomugi, or Job's tears.
Wow. It's
a Japanese, wild rice is also, they're not like normal sugary glutinous kind of things at all, but so you can start to expand those out and eat those kind of. Job's tears is used in Chinese medicine a lot. It's very, very good for the adrenals. The best place to buy it is from Gold Mine down in San Diego off of their site, or if you're in LA, Co-op has a really large gold mine. Co-op and Arrowhead both sell gold mine products, and you'll find the Job's tears. It's got a couple of names, Job's tears there, but that's a really cool thing to cook and put in a soup, or put it in with rice or another grain like quinoa. Yeah, but I just think it's wrong for people to be, taking a food like a category like grains and making, or for the vegans to make the protein eaters feel bad because they're eating protein.
I know, right?
You have to get over all this judgment about food and realize that every food has a front and back to it. It may be good for you and it may not. And learn about this food and then decide if it's right for you. But then, like the grains, yes, they have a little bit of sugar in them, but fix that by having the cultured vegetables in the meal to eat the sugar, for example.
Right.
Yeah, we love to do that, the fermented foods with the food that you're eating. Do you ever do like a fermented drink first thing in the morning on an empty stomach?
Well, what I like to do, because when people wake up in the morning, we're always dehydrated. There's for sure we're dehydrated. And we're always acidic too. You know, we've been lying there. And so I think that the first thing people need to do is wake up and have as much water as they can take, 2-3 glasses of water with minerals, because they'll be hydrating and alkalizing by doing that. And then the next thing I like for people to do is make a little probiotic juice. And I'm glad you actually asked me this question, because Lindsay, who owns Genesis Today, we're a big fan of each other's work. And I love his juices. He's got acai and he's got seed buckthorn. And so what I'll do is pour a little bit of, say, the acai or the seed buckthorn in a glass, pour in about 3 or 4 ounces of one of our probiotic liquids, like Energy Biotic is kind of my favorite, or sometimes I do Dong Quai, but, you know, pour that in the glass, and if you want to, you can put a couple drops of stevia in there, but drink that down, and that's a probiotic juice. That's what we call a probiotic juice. Now you've put bacteria down in your gut. You're ready to start eating your smoothie or whatever you're going to eat. You've got good bacteria in there.
That's great.
Yeah, I like mentally. I like how that kind of makes you feel good that you're putting something before everything else goes down the hatch.
Yeah, exactly.
There's a guy in the chat room, Jackson, who wants to know the differences between DHA and DHEA, and if he needs them. He's a 39-year-old male.
39. Let's see. Well, he might.
Okay.
DHA is in fish oil. It's fat. It's the fatty acid that you'll find from eating omega-3 fats, and it's very, very good for the brain, essential for a woman when she's pregnant, so her baby will have a healthy brain. So that's what DHA is. And you can find it in eggs and egg yolks. As a matter of fact, some companies have eggs with high DHA in them, but that's more for the brain. Now, DHEA is a hormone, and it's a very abundant hormone. It's the most abundant hormone in the body, actually, and it's very important for the brain. And when we're under stress, we don't make DHEA. So we also have to eat good fats. And what happens is when we eat good fats, our body makes cholesterol. So cholesterol is not a bad thing at all. And then cholesterol makes something called pregnenolone. Pregnenolone. I always say, remember being pregnant alone, but it's pregnenolone.
Okay.
And pregnenolone is considered the grandmother hormone for all the other sexual hormones. So pregnenolone then makes DHEA and progesterone. So a lot of people need progesterone. A lot of women do. Even as teenagers, they would do very, very well to take progesterone. DHEA, however, it goes on to make testosterone and estrogen, and testosterone turns into estrogen. So that's how our hormones are made. So at the age of 39, do you need DHEA? Maybe, and you can get a very simple test called the adrenal stress test.
Okay.
A lot of companies make it. Trying to think.
Adrenal stress test.
It's really easy to get an adrenal stress test from your doctor, and they basically measure your cortisol levels. Okay. So if you have high levels of cortisol throughout the day, too high at night, for example, then you can't sleep. But your DHEA, it will also tell you what your DHEA is. It's a simple saliva test, very, very easy to take. And you look at that, and if your DHEA is very, very low, you would probably do well to take some DHEA. Or first recommendation is calm down the stress in your life and see if that doesn't fix your DHEA problem. But usually by the time a man is heading into his 40s, and particularly if he's been very stressed out through his life, his DHEA levels will be low. And remember, that's where his testosterone comes from. So his testosterone levels will be low too. But you don't want to take testosterone either if you don't really need it. It's better to fix your adrenals.
Yeah, it's better to fix.
The adrenals are making these hormones.
Yeah, you want to fix the root cause of the problem. I guess the root cause would probably be how we deal with stress, and then you can kind of go down from the adrenals from there. But
that's why I mentioned the GABA rice, because GABA is very important for dealing with stress. And ashwagandha, rhodiola, many of the Chinese tonic herbs. Theanine is a wonderful, wonderful product. Zymogen makes a 400 milligram theanine. So if you took 3 of those in the morning, like 1,200 milligrams and 1,200 milligrams at bedtime, and take the, Whole Foods has a GABA that's 750 milligrams. If you take 1 or 2 of those in the morning and at bedtime, that calms people down tremendously.
Wow.
A lot of people, their head is chattering, their head has chatter in it all the time. That's what theanine is so good at doing, is stopping that chatter. But it's very important to sleep well and wake up relaxed. So calming yourself down during the day by using these tools that we have to handle the stress. In other words, the stress may be there. You may have a stressful job, or a bunch of teenagers you're raising, or whatever, not enough money, or all the reasons we have stress in our life. Whatever the stress is, you may not be able to get rid of it, but you can change how you react to it. And of course, that's where meditation and taking yoga classes, getting out in nature and taking walks. We have to handle the stress.
I love it. Well, thank you, Donna, for being on the show. I got to ask you, though, aside from the book that you're going to be releasing soon on cleansing, what other things are you working on?
Well, I just finished an advanced fellowship from the American Academy of Anti-Aging Medicine, and it's really cool. I loved it. I love learning, and now I'm so anxious to start teaching. I feel like so many people are ready for simple science. This whole thing I mentioned about our genes is something anyone can learn. Mm-hmm. And when you do, it opens a whole new world of health up to you. I want to teach more of that, and we're going to be doing some webinars. We're putting together some series of webinars to teach that way. So that's major focus for me right now, is that.
Excellent.
Well, you have some big fans over on this side. Yeah. Thank you for everything you do.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for your work.
Thank you. Thank you for doing this work. You have such great people, and all the right things, the Bellicon, Genesis Today. I'm sitting there thinking, wow, you guys really know what you're doing. So this is great. Thank you.
Well, thank you so much. Yeah, it's a lot of fun. We barely even scratched the surface. I could talk with you for hours, but we got to cut the show short a little bit. But for those that are listening live, we're going to sign off on the live show. If you want to hear the end and what we talk about with ourselves regarding Donna and her work and her amazing website and all of that, you can stay tuned for the podcast. It will be released shortly. And for those that are listening live, we're going to sign off now. And thanks for listening. Well, there you have it, Miss Donna Gates.
What an honor. I really resonate with her. I like her a lot.
She's great. I like her a lot.
She's so kind. So kind.
Yeah, isn't it? She's just, I don't know. I liked her whole being, and I like the work that she does. I've never tried her
body ecology diet.
Body ecology. I see it at the health food store all the time.
I know. Gosh darn it. We should just.
Her cultured kefirs, like her coconut kefirs. I think that's kefir starter is what it's called. Kefir
starter. I'd love to try that. We've looked at that a few times, and we've always talked about it. And
yeah,
I think that I've heard her name for many years from you, and just, I don't know, maybe just from the products I've seen of hers, but it did really turn me on to her and her work when I saw her at the Women's Wellness Conference a couple of years ago.
Yeah.
That's when I really felt like she's somebody that I really look up to, and she has such a lovely way about her. And
I wonder what's different about her approach than the GAPS. We got to get the GAPS lady on. What is her name?
Why am I blanking? Oh, Natasha.
Natasha Campbell McBride. We got to figure out a way to contact her, because I'm sure they're very similar. But Donna seems a little bit more... I think Donna's might be something more sustainable. I don't have any experience either with either one, but it sounds like Natasha Campbell McBride's might be something where it's more acute, like you have to apply these principles to maybe an autistic child, or if you have radical digestive disorders.
Problems.
Yeah, you want to kind of reset your whole body, and you go through this entire protocol. But it sounds like Donna Gates is more like a lifestyle thing that's more sustainable, maybe?
Yeah, it does. It surprised me that she mentioned about the GABA rice and some sprouted grains and things like that. And the whole oats. Those are things I never would have imagined would have been a possibility for people with issues. But, I'm starting to think that, like she mentioned, if you get to that point when you rebuild everything, that you should and could be able to eat a heck of a lot more food, than we do, than we're able to. Yeah, clearly, our digestions aren't perfect, but
yeah, it's interesting. I mean, it would be so weird, wouldn't it, to get your digestion back to the point where it's like you're 15 again, and you're able to. Could you imagine being able to consume milk and
pound a pizza if you wanted to?
Could you imagine that?
No. We talk about that a lot, you and I.
Because I used to, as a kid, I would have pizza I remember having
followed by ice cream and root beer.
I had hamburger and pizza oftentimes in the same meal because I love those foods.
Oh, right.
And then I would have an ice cream with a Coke or like a float or something.
Yeah.
You know, 2 hours later, go to bed, feel amazing.
And although it's not healthy, we never felt disgusting after eating that way.
No, never felt, like a stiff or tightness in my stomach. Never felt full, just burned through all that.
Well, we're paying for it now, though, aren't we?
Yeah. We're definitely paying for that now.
Yeah.
But that is really interesting. I should go on her program. It's very intriguing to me.
I'd really like to try it because I really resonated with the email that we read from Lisa. Man, because I have many of those digestive problems as well. And I too feel like I throw the kitchen sink at it and don't have a lot of resolve. So
yeah,
I would love to give this a shot. I also really thought that was interesting about possibly adding more things in for your blood type. Yeah. Have you ever read The Eating Right for Your Type?
No, I would like to talk to that guy because a lot of people seem to resonate
a lot of
with that.
validity.
And Donna mentioned him, didn't she?
Yeah, I don't know if she mentioned him as much as she mentioned just that there is something to do, in her opinion, with eating for your blood type.
Yeah.
I don't even know what mine is.
I don't even know what mine is either.
That's something we should know.
I should know that.
Me too.
Yeah.
What I walked away with is, yes, I want to know my blood type. I want to possibly get on her protocol.
Or just adopt a lot of her principles.
Right, and figure out what works for my body because everybody's so different. And I'm really interested in that Xenoprotect or Methyl Protect. Adding those in.
Yeah, we're going to try to find a link to those, and we'll post it on this particular show page, which is 204, but...
That sounds like it's a really big part of healing.
Yeah, I wonder... I think she mentions all this in her book, doesn't she?
I believe she does, yeah. I can't wait for her detoxification book to come out. But...
Yeah, both of those books. It sounds like the detox book is already completed.
Right. She said by fall for sure. Is that what?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, gosh, it would be interesting to work with her personally, wouldn't it?
Yes.
To be able to talk with her, I think personally. Does she do consultations?
I looked her up during the interview, actually. I pulled up the website and I did find consult
she does?
information.
Can you work with her directly, or are you working with some people from her team or something?
Her directly, and she did have another woman on the site as well that you can work with.
Well, I'm sure it would all be, similar principles.
Yeah. And I believe it's on the phone. I'm not sure about in person, but I know you can schedule that with her.
But I was resonating with that girl, too. What was her name? Lisa? From San Francisco? Yeah, I mean, we do a lot of those same things, too,
Yeah, we do.
But we don't do that many bone broths, but it would be interesting to do more bone broths. And I'm curious if any of you listeners have this experience that we have with bone broths. I don't seem to do that well with bone broth.
I really don't seem to do well with bone broth. However, I am interested to see if we haven't done it right. We have boiled the bones for hours with apple cider vinegar, a little splash to draw out the good stuff, but we have put salt and spices in there to kind of season it up, and I don't know if that's part of our ill success or the fact that we keep doing turkey and chicken. We've never done actual beef bones.
Yeah, what I'd like to try?
Cow bones.
Yeah, cow bones. Beef bones.
Beef bones.
I'd like to try some of that with just water, no salt, no nothing. Just bones and water of the cow instead of the turkey and the chicken that we've tried. And try that on an empty stomach and see how my stomach does with that. Because if you guys have had this experience, I mean, I take it and I get really bloated all of a sudden. It's strange.
I do too, and I feel like that's a salt thing, but I could be wrong. That's why I'm wondering if we're doing it not right, or we're just really sensitive, or it's a beef versus chicken turkey thing. I'm not sure.
I know. I wonder.
But I'm all game for an experiment. We should try that this weekend.
Yeah, I would like to really try that. That would be really, really good. And
yeah, I would love to know anybody out there's thoughts on if they react poorly to the bone broth or which ones, and if you guys have a take on why, if you feel like it's a salt thing or... Yeah,
it'd be very, very curious.
There's the forum.
She was great. That's right. If you guys want to continue this discussion, and maybe if you have, I guess, rebuilt your gut and done it in a powerful way and it's worked for you, please join our forum and discuss it, because if you have a particular protocol that you used, I know a lot of people use mastic gum and L-glutamine to help rebuild the intestinal villi along with fermented foods with the flora. I know there's a lot of people doing that. So if you guys have had really good success rebuilding your gut and getting back to a place where you're 15 again, I would love to know what protocol you used. You can join the forum, and there's a whole cleansing and detoxification protocol section in the forum that we'd love to have you join and share.
Yes, please.
Or if you have any questions about what people are doing, you can also ask your questions in our forum too. There's a lot of really knowledgeable people. But interesting, huh?
Very. Well,
very, very interesting.
You always learn something new on Extreme Health Radio, don't you?
I know, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd like to work with her. I might consider working with her personally.
I would love that.
And just do a 1 hour consult with her and that kind of thing.
Yeah, it'd be great.
Donna Gates, God love her. She's great. Bodyecology.com, and we'll put a link to her website as well as her Facebook site too. I follow her on Facebook. I don't know if I follow her on Twitter. I don't really use Twitter that much.
You don't tweet?
I don't tweet. But I do a little bit. I send out
you do
tweets for the show and stuff. Mm-hmm. But we'll put a link to her Twitter account, her Facebook, and we'll see if she's got a YouTube channel and all that. And this is episode 204, so that's where you'll find all of the show notes for this particular episode. And don't forget to follow her and learn more about her stuff too. And tell her we said hi if you buy her any of her products or anything like that.
Yes.
She's great.
If anybody talks to her, tell her Justin and Kate at Extreme Health Radio love her.
Yeah, she's great.
She's wonderful.
So, all right, thanks you everybody for joining us. I hope you enjoyed that episode and Miss Donna Gates and what she had to say. And
if you want to hear more of her, check her out on the Hay House radio channel.
Right.
I'm so excited about that.
What is that, Mondays?
Mondays at 3 p.m.
3 p.m. Pacific?
Pacific, I believe.
Look at that. And you can listen live for free, right?
Yep.
Wow.
Amazing.
That is awesome.
Amazing.
That's great. I'm going to get her book and
yeah, me too.
Try to learn more about that.
Me too.
Body ecology diet.
Well, yeah, that makes sense. We could share the book, you and I.
That's right. That's it.
If you buy it, then I benefit. I don't need to order one. What am I talking about?
Yeah, so thanks everybody for joining us on this episode. And if you'd like to continue the discussion about cleansing, detoxification, candida, rebuilding your gut, and improving your digestion, please go to our forum and talk to our other members, and you can ask your questions in there. And also, if you found this episode particularly helpful and useful to you, it would be really amazing. Kate and I would really appreciate if you would share this show with your friends on Facebook. So if you can remember, like it on Facebook.
I'm giving it 2 big thumbs up over here.
Nice. 2 big thumbs up.
Wish everyone could see this. Let's give it likes on Facebook.
I can't, I don't know if Facebook has 2 big thumbs up. They only have
Darn.
1.
At least there's not a thumbs down.
I know, right?
Everybody would be really depressed.
That's just like your interview got 25 likes and 45 dislikes.
Oh gosh, would that be horrible?
That'd be horrible.
Everybody's self-esteem would just get shot.
All right, everybody, thank you so much for joining us. We are going to go make a juice. Time to go make a juice, right?
Yes.
A green juice. And we'll catch you on the next episode. If there's ever anything we could do for you, please let us know. And if you'd like to support us in any way, check out the products in our store. You'll see links to that on our website, so you can check out that. And also, don't forget, you can also purchase anytime from Amazon too, extremehealthradio.com/Amazon. And that would really, really